I woke up as the story's resident doormat, the pathetic loser of a supporting character. I came to on the very day my CEO wife threw a birthday party for her first love, Julian, who she'd hired as her assistant. In front of the entire company, they drank a toast, arms linked in a way that was far too intimate. Then, she presented him with my $1 million watch, a gift for his birthday. That watch was the only thing I had left of my mother. The moment my wife, Catherine, started to fasten it onto Julian's wrist, I pushed the ballroom doors open. The meta-commentary in my head scrolled furiously, a phantom live-stream chat narrating my own pathetic life. Here we go. Main event time. Get ready for the part where the simp begs his wife to give back his mom's heirloom. Come on, Caleb, get on your knees. She'll refuse, you'll cry, and then you'll offer her your shares in the right corporation as a trade. That way, after you die in that convenient car accident, she and Julian get everything. It's such a brilliant plan for them. 10/10. Exactly. Serves him right for forcing her to marry him with money when she was at her lowest. If it weren't for him, she and Julian would have been together ages ago. This idiot brought it all on himself. OMG, I can't wait for the happily ever after for Kate and Julian. It's going to be so sweet. Huh. So I'm supposed to hand over my corporation and then get myself run over? If that's the script, then they shouldn't blame me for going off book. I strode forward and slapped my wife across the face. Then I grabbed a bottle of scotch off a nearby table and smashed it over the head of her pretty boy lover. God damn it. Let's see who plays this game better. A dead silence fell over the grand ballroom. Every single person turned to stare at me. I registered then that it wasn't just Sterling Enterprises employees here. A good number of their business partners were in attendance, too. Their faces were plastered with knowing, predatory smiles. My wife, Catherine Sterling, seeing me just standing there, shot me a look of pure venom. Caleb Wright, what is wrong with you? I give Julian a watch and you stand there looking like you're at a funeral. Who do you think you're trying to intimidate? Julian Vance immediately teared up, his eyes turning red. Mister, Wright, it's all my fault. I just mentioned how much I admired the watch, and Kate was kind enough to offer it to me. He made a show of trying to take it off. I know I'm not worthy. Here, I'll take it off and give it back right now. Catherine quickly stopped him, her voice softening into a gentle coo. Julian, don't be silly. You're a kind, wonderful person. You deserve the best things in the world. She then whipped her head back to me, her face a mask of fury. Caleb, are you serious right now? It's a watch. You have dozens. What's the big deal if I give one to Julian? You're scaring him. I'm telling you, you will get on your knees and apologize to Julian this instant. If you do, I might be able to pretend this never happened. Otherwise, don't even think about me forgiving you. The invisible chat exploded. Yes. My queen is such a boss. A true alpha female. I love it. I'm literally crying. This is so touching. Our boy Julian is so sweet. He deserves to be protected and spoiled. Is Caleb sick in the head? It's just a watch. Does he have to be such a drama queen? Right. Kate is beautiful and a badass, and she's 100% correct. Get on your knees and apologize, loser. Hurry it up, Caleb. Stop wasting our time. We want to see more cute moments between Kate and Julian. That's when I knew for sure. I'd been dropped into the world of a novel, and I was the story's biggest simp, the ultimate pushover. The original character, Caleb Wright, was a complete idiot when it came to love. And this whole, he forced her to marry him with money narrative? Bullshit. The truth was, the Sterling family was on the brink of bankruptcy. Her father, Robert Sterling, had begged my family for a corporate marriage alliance multiple times. The Wrights initially had no interest in bailing out the Sterlings. But the original Caleb had been obsessed with Catherine since they were kids. He threw a fit, crying and pleading with his father until he agreed to the marriage. After the alliance, the Wright Corporation's backing didn't just save Sterling Enterprises from collapse. It fueled their comeback. In the last few years, with our help, the Sterlings hadn't just returned to their former glory. They'd surpassed it, growing at a breakneck pace. And Julian Vance, he was Catherine's one that got away. The moment her family's company started to tank, he ghosted her and took off for Europe without a word. Now that the Sterlings were flush with cash again, he was back. The day he returned, Catherine made him her executive assistant. She bought him a six-figure luxury sedan as a welcome home present. When he accidentally sprained his ankle, She stayed by his side at the hospital for 2 straight days and nights without sleep. And now, she was giving him the only thing I had left to my mother for his birthday. The original Caleb didn't just let it happen. He got on his knees and begged for it back. He was even willing to sign over all his shares in the Right Corporation. And his reward for all that, he ended up dead in a ditch. Screw that. If I'm stuck here, I'm going to have some fun with him first. Seeing me remain silent, Catherine's best friend, Chloe, sidled up to her with a catty smile. Kate, don't be mad. Caleb's just jealous, that's all. She made a show of trying to pull Catherine away. Maybe we should just let it go. I'm sure Caleb didn't mean to make a scene. Catherine shoved her friend's hand away, her eyes flashing with rage. Let go. Not a chance. She stomped over to me in her stilettos, tilting her head up to glare at me. Caleb, do you enjoy this? Who even gave you permission to come here? It's Julian's birthday, and you've ruined his mood. Get on your knees and apologize. Now, or I swear I won't let you off easy. The other guests were all watching me like it was dinner theater. The rumors were true. Catherine Sterling treated her husband like a dog she was trying to house train. The Right Corporation was the biggest player in New York. Who would have thought its sole heir was such a spineless coward? I stared down at the imperious woman before me and felt a smirk crawl across my face. She was a monster of the original Caleb's own making. But I have no intention of enabling an ungrateful, cheating bitch like her. Crack! My hand connected with her cheek. The sharp sound of the slap echoed through the silent ballroom. Everyone froze, their eyes wide with disbelief as they stared at me. It was a hard slap. She stumbled backward, losing her balance and collapsing onto the floor. Her cheek immediately began to swell, a bright red handprint blooming on her skin. Catherine clutched her burning face, the fury in her eyes replaced by shock and raw humiliation. She was the Sterling family's pampered princess. After marrying me, or rather, the original me, she had been spoiled beyond reason. When had she ever been subjected to such an indignity? She glared at me, her teeth grinding together. Caleb, right. You dare to hit me? Julian was the first to snap out of it. He cried out and scrambled to Catherine's side, his eyes red and teary. Caleb, are you insane? How could you hit Kate? I let out a cold laugh. Oh, really? My mistake. I forgot about you. I grabbed the bottle of Macallan from the table and brought it down hard on his head. Crash! Glass shards and amber liquid flew everywhere. Julian clutched his head, his body trembling in pain. Dark red blood began to seep through his fingers, mixing with the splattered scotch. The scene was shockingly graphic. Gasps and screams erupted from the crowd. The people who had been enjoying the show were now scrambling in panic. Sterling employees shrieked and backed away. The business partners shot up from their seats, trying to get clear of the chaos. The room descended into pandemonium. The chat feed in my head went supernova. WTF, what is this loser doing? Holy crap, he's not a doormat anymore, he's a psycho. What happened? Where was the kneeling? Where was the offering of company shares for the watch? He hit both the male and female leads? Who gave him the balls to do that? Isn't he afraid our precious Kate won't love him anymore? It's over, it's over. The plot has gone completely off the rails. Writer, director, get out here and fix this mess. No, my poor Julian. I'm heartbroken. Seeing Julian bleeding, Catherine scrambled towards him like a madwoman. Her voice trembled with uncontrollable rage. Julian, are you okay? Caleb, right? I'm going to kill you. She lunged at me, claws out, trying to attack. I slapped her again, sending her sprawling back to the floor. I looked down at her from my full height. Catherine, if it wasn't for my family's money, Sterling Enterprises would have been liquidated years ago. You're my wife, yet you spend every waking moment with this boy toy, and you even give him my mother's only heirloom as a birthday present. Who the hell gave you the right? Catherine could clearly sense that I was different from before. This new version of me was a stranger, and it was starting to scare her. Her body visibly tensed. A flicker of panic crossed her eyes, but it was quickly consumed by anger again. Caleb, Julian is my assistant. What could possibly be going on between us? You have so many watches. What does it matter if I give one to him? Is it really worth you going crazy like this in public? I'm telling you, you assaulted both of us today, and there are dozens of witnesses. I'm calling the police right now to have you arrested. Let's see how you handle that. She pulled out her iPhone and made a show of dialing 911. I just shrugged. Go ahead. Call them. It'll work out perfectly, since I seem to have misplaced a $1 million watch. We have witnesses and physical evidence right here on his wrist. And I'm sure the hotel security cameras caught everything. That should be good for 10 to 15 years for grand larceny, don't you think? Even though Catherine and I were married, our families had signed an ironclad prenup. She had no legal authority to dispose of my personal assets. As I said this, the expressions of the onlookers shifted from simple drama watching to genuine shock. Only Catherine and Julian's faces turned deathly pale. Caleb, do you really have to make this impossible for everyone? She hissed. I laughed coldly. You're full of shit. How is this impossible for me? The only ones this is impossible for are you two cheating scumbags. What's wrong? Not calling the cops anymore. Catherine was speechless, her face shifting between shades of green and white. She was starting to feel real fear. She couldn't understand how the man who used to tread so carefully around her had suddenly transformed into this monster. Caleb, that's enough. I'm your wife. What's the big deal about one watch? What do you want? I sneered. Yeah, so now you remember you're my wife. When you were spending all day with your little boy toy, buying him a new Porsche, giving him $1 million watch. I thought maybe you were his wife. I turned my gaze to Julian. Julian Vance, take that watch off right now and get the hell out. This 5-star hotel is a right property, and from now on, you are not welcome here. Julian had never been so publicly humiliated. Tears of shame and rage welled in his eyes. He had been the big man on campus, the center of attention. Now, as an executive assistant at Sterling, everyone in the company treated him with fawning respect. One of the business partners, a man who seemed to have a good relationship with Julian, decided to step in. Mister, right, it's just a watch. They'll give it back. There's no need to throw him out. Why don't we all just let this go for tonight? I narrowed my eyes at the man, dredging up a memory from the original Caleb's mind. You're Mr. Quinn, aren't you? I believe your company is in the middle of negotiating a multi-million-dollar deal with Wright Corp. Perhaps we should just let that go. Mr. Quinn's face went stiff with embarrassment. He could only offer a pathetic, apologetic nod and retreat. I let out a derisive snort and scanned the room, raising my voice. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want you to think I'm just throwing my weight around. This man, Julian Vance, is actually my wife's old flame. Back when the Sterling family was facing ruin, he vanished and went abroad without a second thought. Now that my family, the Wrights, have propped the Sterlings back up, he suddenly reappears and becomes my wife's assistant. My wife pampers him, buys him luxury cars, and gives him my dead mother's only heirloom as a birthday gift. So you tell me, am I the one out of line, or are these two shameless parasites? What? Did you think the Wright family was an easy target? I grabbed another expensive bottle of liquor from a table and smashed it on the floor for emphasis. Crash! I roared, security! Get in here, take that watch off his wrist, and throw him out. The moment I spoke, the hotel security team swarmed into the room. These men were well-trained professionals. Hearing my order, they immediately surrounded Julian. Their faces were impassive, their movements swift. Julian's face went white with terror. He instinctively covered his wrist and stumbled backward. What are you doing? Stay away from me. Don't touch me. Catherine panicked and scrambled up from the floor. She threw herself in front of Julian, screaming at the guards. Stop! Who told you to touch him? He's with me. All of you get out. But the guards only answered to me. They completely ignored her screeching. The head of security spoke, his tone icy. Mrs. Wright, please step aside. These are Mr. Wright's orders. I won't move. Catherine shielded Julian protectively. If you want to throw him out, you'll have to throw me out with him. I watched her with pure derision. Catherine, are you sure you want to keep protecting him? Don't forget, this is my family's property. Do you really think you can stop me here? Catherine bit her lip, staring at me with hatred. Caleb Wright, who do you think you are? You're nothing but my pathetic little simp. I'm telling you, if you dare to throw Julian out today, I will make you pay. Her defiance actually made me laugh. Good. That's very good. I hope you can keep that energy. I barked at the security team. Get her out of the way. Two guards immediately grabbed Catherine, and restrained her. The others moved in on Julian, forcibly trying to remove the watch from his wrist. Julian fought back desperately. He knew that if he was publicly stripped of the watch and thrown out today, his credibility and status within the company would be destroyed. Who would ever respect him again? Kate, help me. Please help me. Tears streamed down Catherine's face. She watched as the watch was ripped from Julian's wrist, and her heart clenched. She screamed at me, her voice raw with fury. Caleb Wright, you've gone too far. I will make you regret this. A guard handed me the watch. I carefully placed it in my pocket. Throw him out, I said coldly, not even glancing at Catherine. The guards dragged Julian out like a sack of garbage. His eyes burned with humiliation and hatred as he looked at me. His curses echoed down the hall, growing fainter until they disappeared completely. The ballroom was dead silent once more. Everyone was stunned by what they had just witnessed. They couldn't believe I had been so ruthless, offering absolutely no quarter. Was this really the Wright family's famous pushover? After Julian was gone, I turned to face the remaining guests. My apologies, everyone, for the evening's entertainment, I said, my voice heavy with sarcasm. I, Caleb Wright, am announcing here and now that my marriage to Catherine Sterling is broken. It's over. The Wright Corporation will no longer be supporting Sterling Enterprises. All partnerships and joint ventures are hereby terminated. I've said my piece. The rest of you can see yourselves out. The announcement sent a shockwave through the room. The guests now looked at Catherine with a mixture of pity and schadenfreude. Catherine was completely stunned. She never imagined I would be so decisive, so final, leaving no room for negotiation. Was this really the same weak, subservient Caleb? He loved her so much. How could he end their marriage over something so trivial? Caleb, have you lost your mind? Do you have any idea what you're saying? I didn't bother to answer her. I simply turned and walked away. Catherine's face was a mess of emotions. Hatred warred with a new, creeping sense of fear. She was afraid I was serious about the divorce. If the Wright Corporation truly became an enemy of her family's company, they were doomed. Sterling Enterprises had grown fast, but compared to the colossal Wright Corporation, they were nothing. They weren't even in the same league. No, it can't be, she muttered to herself, a desperate confidence returning. He's just jealous. He loves me too much. This is just a tactic to get my attention. All I have to do is sweet-talk him a little, and he'll come crawling back like he always does. The live stream chat was going wild. WTF, what is happening? Did he really just throw my man out? This script is a total mess. Kill off the evil supporting character. No. How could he do that to my precious Julian? My heart is broken. JPG, this asshole has the nerve to ask for a divorce. Our girl Kate wasted years of her youth on this dog. Hold on. Is nobody else thinking that the main characters are actually awful? The wife is an ungrateful traitor who is going to have him killed to steal his fortune. She's that evil and she's the heroine? Shut up, you traitor. He deserved it for getting in the way of their true love. Haha, I'm dying. True love? This feels less like a romance and more like a revenge fantasy from the male lead's perspective. I don't get where this plot is going, but for some reason, I'm really enjoying it. Stepping out of the hotel, the city lights felt piercingly bright. My driver saw me and immediately pulled the car around. I opened the door and slid inside. Back to the office, Mr. Right? The driver asked. Yes. I sat back, thought for a moment, and then called my lawyer. Leo, I need you to draw up divorce papers. Immediately. Make sure my interests are completely protected. What's mine stays mine. Not a single cent. Mr. Right, are you certain? Positive. The faster, the better. Right away, Mr. Right. The car soon pulled into the corporate parking garage. My assistant, Alex Porter, was already waiting for me at the entrance. Alex, get all senior and mid-level management in the main conference room. Meeting in 30 minutes. I want to see the progress reports on all current projects. And in 30 minutes, anyone who isn't on scheduled leave and shows up late can submit their resignation on the way out. Alex stiffened, nodding sharply. Yes, Mr. Right. I'll arrange it immediately. Half an hour later, when I walked into the conference room, it was already full. Every person sat ramrod straight, their faces tense and serious. Stacks of reports lay on the table. The projector was on. The atmosphere was electric. All eyes were on me. I could see the confusion in their gazes. They sensed something was different. I took my seat at the head of the table, tapping my index finger rhythmically on the polished wood. All right, let's begin. Project Department, Mr. Davis. I want a full report on all joint ventures and partnerships between Wright Corp and Sterling Enterprises. Give me the current status. The project manager shot to his feet and began his report. He laid out the progress, costs, and revenue for every single collaborative project. I nodded. The 2 largest projects can be concluded within 3 days. Excellent. 3 days from now, I want all other partnerships with Sterling Enterprises terminated. Davis looked stunned. Mr. Wright, if we unilaterally cancel the other projects, we'll be liable for breach of contract penalties. I cut him off, my voice sharp. The penalties on those smaller projects are negligible to this corporation. Do as I say. Yes, Mr. Wright. I turned to the head of the investment department. Mr. Chun, starting today, I want you to sell off our entire stake in Sterling Enterprises. All of it. Hearing this, the pen in Chen's hand clattered onto the table. He hastily picked it up. Yes, Mr. Wright. I understand. I then looked at Leo Fisher from the legal department, who had just arrived. Leo, prepare all the necessary legal documents to dissolve our partnerships with Sterling. I want you to find any and all compliance violations on their end during our collaboration. Shift the blame to them. I don't want to pay a single dollar in penalties if we can avoid it. I also want to ensure we have no legal exposure. And, as we discussed on the phone, I want the divorce agreement with Catherine Sterling drafted and on my desk for review by the end of the day. Leo nodded quickly. Yes, Mr. Wright. I'll get on it right away. It finally dawned on everyone in the room. Mr. Wright was planning to completely sever ties with the Sterling family. Sterling Enterprises relied on the Wright Corporation for the vast majority of its business. Furthermore, Wright Corp was the industry leader in New York, a bellwether for the entire market. The moment we publicly cut them off, other companies would rush to distance themselves from the Sterlings to protect their own interests. Sterling Enterprises was about to be annihilated. Everyone knew how pathetically in love Mr. Wright had been with Catherine Sterling. To call him a simp was an understatement. Frankly, it had been embarrassing for them, too. Secretly, many of them had looked down on their own boss. But the man before them now was decisive, ruthless, and utterly efficient. It sent a jolt of adrenaline through them. The way they looked at me now held a new emotion, respect tinged with fear. The chat feed went crazy again. It's over. It's over. The main characters are completely screwed now. Without the Wrights backing, the Sterling family is toast. He's insane. Caleb Wright has completely lost his mind. No. What's going to happen to my poor Catherine? This supporting character is pure evil. Well, why shit? Now that's a CEO. This decisive, cold-blooded execution is everything. I'm in love. This turn of events is so satisfying. Go, Mr. Right, go. +1, Team Caleb. Ditch the cheater and build your empire. Isn't that better? For the next 3 days, Sterling Enterprises stock plummeted. The entire New York financial world could smell blood in the water. Catherine, however, didn't take it seriously. She assumed I was just having an extended tantrum out of jealousy. For 3 whole days, she stayed at the hospital, doting on Julian. Her father, Robert Sterling, couldn't sit still. He called me nonstop for 3 days straight. Today, he even decided to celebrate his birthday early, insisting that I attend a family dinner. I thought about it and agreed. It was the perfect opportunity to have the divorce papers signed. That evening, I arrived at the Sterling family estate in Greenwich with 2 bodyguards. Catherine's parents were waiting for me on the doorstep. Her mother personally opened my car door, her voice trembling slightly. Caleb, Kate said she'll be back soon. I gave a slight nod. I couldn't care less about Catherine's whereabouts. Her parents respectfully escorted me inside. Seeing that I had brought bodyguards with me to their home, a knot of dread tightened in their stomachs. Quite a few guests were already there, all Sterling family relatives. I greeted them one by one before taking a seat. I sat in a mahogany chair, sipping a cup of tea, my 2 bodyguards standing impassively behind me. Robert and his wife exchanged a worried glance. Robert finally spoke, his tone probing. Caleb, you and Kate have always had such a wonderful relationship. Did she do something foolish to upset you? Why have you been dumping all of our family stock these past few days? I arched an eyebrow. Mr. Sterling, What are you talking about? As for how she upset me, are you telling me you, her own father, have no idea? Hearing me drop the familiar dad for the formal Mr. Sterling, and the accusatory tone in my voice, he felt a flash of anger but dared not show it. A muscle twitched in his jaw, but he forced himself to remain patient. Caleb, I know Kate can be thoughtless, but she would never do anything to truly betray you. Like this when she gets back, I promise I will give her a stern talking to. Please, don't be angry anymore. Your massive sell-off of our stock and the rumors about canceling our partnerships. If this continues, our family can't possibly withstand it. Do you think you could? Before he could finish, Catherine walked in, holding Julian Vance's hand. Dad, why are you begging him? She announced, her voice dripping with disdain. He's only doing all this to try and force me to submit to him. It's so childish. She turned her glare on me. Let me tell you something, Caleb Wright. You assaulted Julian and put him in the hospital for 3 days. Unless you get on your knees and beg for forgiveness, I will never forgive you. The relatives gathered in the room were utterly shocked by her outburst. The rumor mill was already churning with stories about her and her boy toy. And now Catherine had the audacity to bring him home. This wasn't just a slap in the face to me. It was a slap in the face to her own parents. With Sterling stock crashing and burning, everyone knew it was my doing. And she was still demanding I kneel. Did she want her family's company to die faster? Her father looked like he was about to have an aneurysm. He couldn't comprehend how he had raised such a clueless, self-destructive daughter. Her mother's eyes were red with fury. Catherine, what is this nonsense you're spouting? And another thing, today is your father's birthday dinner. What is Julian Vance doing here? Catherine replied, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. Mom, Julian just got out of the hospital. He's been through so much. What's wrong with me bringing him home for a decent meal? Julian shot a look at me, his eyes full of smug provocation. Robert Sterling could no longer contain his rage. He slapped his daughter hard across the face. I, Robert Sterling, have lived my life with honor. How did I end up with such a shameless creature for a daughter? You have disgraced the entire Sterling name. Catherine clutched her swelling cheek, staring at her father in disbelief. She was the only child coddled and adored her whole life. She'd never been treated this way. Tears instantly welled in her eyes. Dad, you hit me. What did I do wrong? Julian has suffered so much, and he's such a kind person. Why is everyone always picking on him? Julian hid behind Catherine, fat tears rolling down his cheeks. Kate, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have come. I'll leave right now. But Catherine grabbed his arm, refusing to let go. Julian, it's not your fault. You're not going anywhere. Her father trembled with rage, pointing a shaking finger at Julian. A grown man, cry like a baby. The sight of you is disgusting. Get out of my house. Butler, escort this. Guest out. The butler started to move toward Julian, but Catherine shoved him back forcefully. She shielded Julian, roaring at her father. Dad, what are you doing? I brought him here. You have no right to treat him like this. The room was stunned into silence. The chat feed went insane. OMG. Queen Kate is the ultimate heroine. So sweet. Ha ha ha. Yes, that's how you should spoil our Julian. To hell with everyone else. Wait, what? This isn't a strong heroine. Bringing her boy toy to a family dinner while the family business is collapsing because of him? This is a brain-dead idiot in love. This is what love is. So what if you have to defy the whole world? Shut up, hater. Ugh, I feel so bad for her parents. To raise such a garbage daughter, what terrible luck. The Sterling relatives were finally seeing Catherine for who she truly was. You ungrateful child. Robert was red in the face, clutching his chest and gasping for air. He looked around wildly, searching for his mahogany cane. Just as he was about to bring it down on Catherine's head, I, having grown bored of the melodrama, spoke up calmly. That's enough. Catherine, who had been defiantly tilting her head up, heard me speak on her behalf and let out a cold laugh. Caleb Wright, I know you've been bad-mouthing Julian to my father. That's why he's treating me this way. I'm telling you, I won't forgive you so easily. Not unless you kneel and apologize to both me and Julian. Everyone stared at her as if she'd lost her mind. She seemed to realize she had gone too far, and her tone softened slightly. Honey, just say you're sorry. If you do, I'll still give you a chance. But before Catherine could bask in her presumed victory, I gave a cold smile, took a folder from my bodyguard, and handed it to her. She took it, a confused look on her face. When she saw the words divorce agreement printed in bold on the cover, her eyes went wide. I watched her, a mocking smile on my face. Anyone with eyes can see that you and Julian are the ones in love. Since that's the case, I'll do you both a favor and set you free. If there are no issues, you should sign it. Catherine stared at me in disbelief, her voice trembling. Caleb, you're serious? I only think of Julian as a little brother. There's nothing going on between us. Do you really have to blow this all out of proportion? Faced with her impotent rage, I just smiled. Catherine, you can say that, but does anyone here actually believe you? For the sake of a boy toy, you have disrespected my family's name time and time again. I see no reason to show you any more respect in return. And let me be clear, Catherine, the divorce is just the beginning. Her father was on the verge of a heart attack from his daughter's stupidity. Her mother was sobbing, a mess of tears and snot, practically on her knees before me. They were frantic, terrified that I was dead set on divorcing their daughter. Caleb, please, divorce is a serious matter. Can't you just reconsider? Kate will change. I promise she will. I'll personally make sure of it. I'm begging you, please, just give her one more chance. I didn't answer them. I just stared coldly at Catherine. If you keep stalling and refuse to sign, believe me, I have plenty of ways to force your hand. When Julian saw the divorce papers, his eyes lit up. I saw the flash of triumph in his eyes and had to suppress a laugh. What an idiot. Let's see how he handles the full wrath of the Sterling family. Catherine ripped the divorce agreement into pieces. Caleb, right. I'm not divorcing you. You can forget about it. Fine. We'll see about that. With that, I turned on my heel and left with my bodyguards. Soon after, the Wright Corporation issued a formal press release. We were terminating all partnerships with Sterling Enterprises. In the week that followed, the Sterlings finally understood the full force of the hurricane they were in. One by one, their other partners issued statements, severing ties. Sterling stock was in free fall, hitting the circuit breaker day after day. Over 90% of their projects ground to a halt. Sensing disaster, suppliers and banks started showing up daily, demanding payment. The Sterlings were running around like headless chickens, begging for help. Unfortunately for them, everyone knew their ship was sinking. No one was willing to lend a hand. Over the years, Sterling Enterprises had become far too dependent on the Wright Corporation. Once we cut them loose, they had virtually no ability to weather the storm. Catherine finally started to panic. She called me again and again. I didn't answer a single call, just let the phone ring. She was the desperate one, not me. I hired a new secretary at the office, a college intern. Stunning face, incredible body. Way more beautiful than Catherine. Younger, too. Her eyes were especially expressive, practically magnetic. She made a habit of accidentally finding reasons to walk past my desk in her short skirts, occasionally casting a longing glance my way. I was bored, so I entertained myself by flirting back. I was in my office, giving her a performance review, when Robert Sterling's call came through. I gently pushed the blushing intern away. I thought for a moment, then answered. The old fox wanted to meet for dinner at the Onyx Club, an exclusive private lounge. I readily agreed. Just in case the Sterlings were desperate enough to try something stupid, I brought 7 or 8 bodyguards with me. The moment I stepped into the private room, a haggard-looking Catherine rushed towards me. She looked at me with pitiful, pleading eyes. Honey, are you really so heartless? Must you drive my family into the ground? You used to love me so much. I looked at her now submissive demeanor and let out a short, sharp laugh. Oh, what happened to all that bravado? You know, I think I preferred the defiant, arrogant version of you. A flicker of rage crossed Catherine's eyes, but she quickly suppressed it, forcing herself to be meek. Honey, you've really misunderstood me. There's nothing going on between Julian and me. I cut her off with a raised eyebrow. He sprains his ankle, and you play nurse for him in the hospital for 2 days straight. You buy him a Porsche. You give him my mother's heirloom for his birthday. And you're telling me, Catherine, that there's nothing going on? With every word, her face grew paler. Her eyes darted around the room, unable to meet my gaze. The chat started scrolling again. WHOA. What is this? Is the female lead really giving in just like that? This guy is such a villain. All he wants is to break up the true love couple. Oh my God, the plot is reversing so fast. She's clearly being forced into a corner. If I can't have you, I'll destroy you. Caleb, right, is pure evil. Go, mister. Right, don't you dare fall for it. Stay away from toxic women. Making money is so much better. Robert Sterling hurried over and guided me to a seat. Caleb, Kate is young and foolish. Please don't take it to heart. I know my daughter. She would never truly betray you. She knows she was wrong. These past few days, she hasn't eaten or slept, just thinking about how to earn your forgiveness. I didn't respond, simply taking my seat. Catherine said, I'll go get Julian and bring him here. Hearing that, a smile touched my lips. I thought this was supposed to be a trap. Turns out, it's a surprise party. A few moments later, Julian Vance was brought in. The second he saw me, he dropped to his knees. He started banging his head on the floor, the thuds echoing in the quiet room. Mister, right, I was wrong. I know I was wrong. It was me. I had improper feelings for Kate. I was a toad, trying to eat swan meat. I'm not human. But I swear, nothing ever happened between us. Kate never agreed to anything. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Please, I'm begging you, forgive Kate. It's not her fault, it's all mine. I slowly sipped my tea, letting him knock his head against the floor without so much as a glance in his direction. Robert gave Catherine a sharp look. She immediately sidled up to me. Honey, please forgive me. I truly know I was wrong. I'll never do it again. Julian, he's just an outsider. How could he ever compare to you, my husband? Don't worry, I've already fired him. And I'm making him leave New York today. He will never appear in front of you again. Please, don't be angry anymore, okay? Clap, clap, clap. I applauded them theatrically. What a performance. The three of you have real talent. It's a shame you're not in Hollywood. No, honey, it's not a performance. I really am sorry. I promise I'll be a good wife to you from now on, Catherine said, her voice laced with desperation, her eyes red and on the verge of tears. Look at the state of my family's company. No one is willing to help us. If you don't help me, we're really finished. Honey, I'll listen to you from now on. Whatever you say, I'll do it. Her father nodded eagerly, bowing and scraping. Yes, yes, Caleb. As long as you're willing to help the Sterlings again, if Kate ever dares to disrespect you, I'll be the first to punish her. I picked up my teacup, took a light sip, and then stood up. Since you're not being sincere, let's just forget it. And don't bother calling me again. Robert Sterling's face fell, his expression turning hard as stone. Man, break both of Julian Vance's legs. Julian's head snapped up, his face a mask of terror. No, no, please don't. Mister Sterling, you promised. You said if I came here and apologized, you'd let me go. You said you'd give me money to leave. How can you go back on your word? Robert's eyes were glacial. He offered a smile that didn't reach them. I was just saying things. Did you really believe me? Did you honestly think I would just let go of the man who single-handedly brought my family to the brink of ruin? Two of Robert's men quickly pinned a struggling Julian to the floor. He was truly terrified now, thrashing wildly. Mr. Sterling, I know I was wrong. Kate, help me. Say something, please. At this, Catherine's resolve faltered. She looked pained and rushed to shield Julian. Dad, you promised me. You said all he had to do was apologize. Her father, seething, threw a stack of photographs in her face. Catherine, take a good look. Take a good look at the kind of scum you've been protecting. The photos scattered at her feet like poisoned snowflakes. Each one was a hammer blow to her heart. They were all pictures of Julian in Europe with a variety of different women. In the photos, Julian was grinning, his arms around women of all kinds at nightclubs, kissing them on the beach. There was even one of him accompanying a young black woman into a hospital's maternity ward. No, this can't be real, Catherine whispered, her eyes losing focus as if all the strength had been drained from her body. Julian told me. He was single the entire time he was in Europe. Seeing the photos, Julian's face twisted in desperation. He fought against the men holding him down, screaming, Kate, don't believe them. Those photos are fake. They're all fake. Robert looked at his daughter, his eyes filled with undisguised disappointment. When our family was at its lowest, he abandoned you and fled the country. I knew then that he was no good, which is why I've had him secretly investigated this whole time. I can't believe it. He abandoned you once, and you still chose him over everyone, defying your parents, betraying your husband. And now that our family is about to be destroyed, you still want to protect him? Catherine's eyes turned bloodshot. She calmly walked over and took a heavy wooden club from one of her father's men. She stared at Julian like a predator eyeing its prey. Now, Julian was truly petrified. He trembled uncontrollably, trying to explain. Kate, it was a moment of weakness in Europe. I was just playing around with those women. My heart has only ever been with you. You have to believe me. Catherine said nothing. She raised the club, thicker than her own arm, and brought it down with all her might. Crack. Ah! A second crack, a second scream, and Julian's legs were bent at unnatural angles. His face was contorted in agony as he gasped for breath, his eyes locked on Catherine. She gritted her teeth, then lifted her stiletto-heeled shoe and stomped down hard on his crotch. A mixture of yellow and red fluid seeped onto the floor. The room filled with a sickening, pungent smell. Julian let out a gut-wrenching scream, like a pig being slaughtered, and then passed out from the pain. The chat went wild. HLY shit. What did I just see? Is Catherine insane? No. The happy ending for my favorite couple is completely ruined. I hate this director. Seriously, that's way too brutal. Even if he made mistakes, he still loved you. My God, Catherine's switch up was so fast. 1 second she's protecting him, the next she's trying to kill him. Damn, that's too graphic. I got goosebumps. Mr. Wright is a legend. He literally forced the main couple to try and kill each other. WTF. This is epic. I ignored the commentary, straightened my suit, and spoke calmly. Mr. Sterling, the show is over. I should be going. Caleb, Robert called out, his eyes pleading. You see, Kate really knows she was wrong now, and our family is in this state. Can't you? No. I cut him off without hesitation. Actions have consequences. This was Catherine's choice. As for the Sterling family, the most I can promise is that I won't actively target you anymore. What happens from here has nothing to do with me. I glanced at the catatonic Catherine, slumped on the floor, without a shred of pity. Have the signed divorce papers sent to my office. You have 3 days. Otherwise, what happens next will be much, much worse for the Sterling family. With that, I turned and left. Just as I reached the door, I heard Catherine's desperate, heart-wrenching cry from behind me. Caleb, I'm sorry. I really know I was wrong. Can't you just give me one more chance? I didn't break my stride. A cold smile played on my lips. A chance? Do I look like a fool? So your family can get back on its feet and stab me in the back again? I'm not the idiot from the book. I turned to my head of security. Did you get all that on video? Send the footage to the Vance family. He's their only son, you know. Such a tragedy. Sure enough, the next day, the signed divorce agreement was delivered to my office. While I didn't actively continue to attack the Sterlings, their company was already in a death spiral. Bankruptcy was a foregone conclusion. No one ever saw Julian Vance again after that night. Even I couldn't find a trace of him. Catherine's parents tried to visit my father multiple times, but he had them unceremoniously thrown out. Catherine's approach was more direct. With no other options, she began kneeling outside my villa every night, begging for my forgiveness. I acted as if she wasn't there. I ate well, drank the best, and occasionally took my news secretary out for a drive. Sterling Enterprises struggled for 3 more months before finally declaring bankruptcy. They were left with a mountain of debt. In just a few short months, Catherine looked as if she had aged a decade. She was a hollowed-out shell of her former self. Betrayed by her first love, divorced, and now bankrupt, she began a downward spiral, drinking herself into a stupor every day. To pay off their debts, her elderly parents had to take up menial jobs. One night, I was leaving a club with a B-list actress when I saw a drunken Catherine staggering down the middle of the street. Just then, a black sedan shot toward her like a bolt of lightning. Crash! The violent impact shattered the silence of the night. It sounded like thunder cracking directly overhead. I stopped in my tracks and turned to look. The moment the car hit Catherine, she was thrown into the air like a broken doll. She landed with a sickening thud on the pavement. Blood pooled beneath her, staining the asphalt a deep, dark red. From the sheer force of the impact, It was clear she didn't stand a chance. I couldn't help but think of the original Caleb's fate in the novel. It had been just like this. The black car paused for only a second before speeding off, disappearing into the night. The actress beside me screamed, her face pale with terror as she gripped my arm. Mister, right, that car hit someone. We have to call the police. As a good citizen, I had my bodyguard call 911 immediately, and I made sure they provided the license plate number of the hit-and-run driver. A couple of days later, I had my assistant make an anonymous call to the police, offering them a small tip. It wasn't long before Julian Vance's parents were arrested. They confessed immediately, admitting they had murdered Catherine Sterling in revenge. Their case also brought the disappearance of their son, Julian, back into the spotlight. As expected, Robert Sterling was also taken into custody for his role in that incident. After a long silence, the chat feed in my head exploded one last time. He killed them all. Wright went on a total rampage. Mr. Wright's 5D chess move of using his enemies to kill each other is god tier. First, he used the Sterlings to get rid of the male lead. Then he used the Vances to get rid of the female lead. And he got both sets of parents thrown in jail. This adaptation is insane. They turned the pathetic side character into a revenge fantasy protagonist. I kneel. Caleb, Wright is a legend. So badass. The supporting character absolutely owned this. He played both families like a fiddle. The end. Flowers for everyone. That was so f***ing satisfying. Looking at the scrolling text, I finally allowed myself to smile. The original Caleb's vengeance was complete, and my new life was just beginning. The end.